Okay, good evening. I'd like to call the North Aurora Village Board meeting for Monday, October 3rd, 2022 to order. These are me in a silent prayer and meditation. Okay, thank you. Please join me in a pledge of allegiance. All right, thank you. Roll call.
Mayor Gaffino.
Here.
Trustee Carroll.
Here.
Trustee Curtis. Trustee Gately.
Here.
Trustee Lowry.
Here.
Trustee Nedved.
Here.
Trustee Salazar. Here.
All right, thank you. Audience comments. Anybody here for that? Seeing none. Presentation by the Fox Valley Park District. Mr. Pilmer.
Good evening. Is this okay? Like this? Thank you. Thank you. My name is Jim Pelmer. I'm the executive director of the Fox Valley Park District. I want to give the elected leaders of North Aurora an overview of the activity that the Park District's doing, particularly right outside your back door here, all the ways to the north into Batavia. I first wanted to start out with, I joined the Park District November of 2015, and into my very first day, I met with Mr. Bosco and President Behrman, and they were opening and welcoming, and we have a great relationship with your staff here in North Aurora, so much that I even hired your retired police chief, who then retires on me in the middle of it. But I want to also compliment my colleague, Jeff Palmquist. He's our director of planning. He's in consistent contact with Administrator Bosco and the activities that go on here. I have in front of you a presentation, which is yours to give. I feel as the elected leaders of North Aurora, you need to be totally informed for your citizens. And I started with a little timeline that would really kind of date back to President Gaffino's tenure here at office. But I'm going to back up a little bit further, as I told you at my first meeting in 2015 with Mr. Bosco, but even to the point is having Trustee Gately involved with us that when we needed a commissioner 4 years ago, he helped recruit one of your citizens, Mr. Al Broholm, a former trustee, to be a commissioner at the Fox Valley Park District. And Commissioner Broholm spends a great amount of time walking his dogs over throughout his neighborhood in the parks, and he pays really close attention to what's going on, not only in North Aurora, but our entire 65 square mile district. In March of 2019, the village board was very cooperative with us to annex into the village limits of North Aurora out of the county, Lipple Park, and we appreciated that very much. During the pandemic in July of 2020, the Fox Valley Park District Board of Commissioners approved the goal that we begin to reimagine what Red Oak Nature Center in the Lipple Park corridor would look like. In 2020, we began pursuing land acquisition of the Sperry property out the back here. And we have the right of first refusal on Mrs. Smith's property that's between this property and the cave up there. Doing that, we engage with the Conservation Foundation to be like our broker of record to represent the Park District in our land acquisitions. In 2021, we contracted with White & Company to do a feasibility study of what could be done with the property just north of Village Hall here. And then January of this year, we did go ahead and break ground on the construction of Lipple Park with a 3-season shelter and events facility. I think, well, that's down there in the next slide down in August. In January of this year, we closed on the Sperry property out here, that 5 acres. And then a key point for all the funding to this is in April of 2022, the governor signed the State of Illinois Capital Bill, which provided $5.7 million from the state of Illinois directly into the property here in North Aurora. This is not coming from local property taxes. It is coming from Springfield. In August of 2022, We're in our 4th week of construction up there with a picture to show of the education and event center that's being put together. The investment of about $10 million breaks down like this: is that the 3-season multi-use shelter and restrooms at Lipple Park that's under construction is $1.9 million. That component is being funded 100% from the Fox Valley Park District. We've been given an appropriation from the state of Illinois for a bicycle pedestrian bridge over the Fox River, linking both the east and west side. And I'll show you where the feasibility shows the best location for that. And we stay in communication with Administrator Bosco on linking together with the Forest Preserve and Batavia and all these types of things in that regards. The Red Oak Nature Center as it stands is in the middle of a $85,000 renovation, which is funding from the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. On the Sperry property right behind Village Hall here, that 5 acres, we will not be calling it a Century Gardens or a botanical garden, or that's the concept that we will go to. It's going to be a very passive area, benches, vistas, look out over the river while the dam is still there. That's just a joke. It's in that sense, but we see that as a passive area to enjoy nature. And then this past month, we acquired from a family. They approached us just on the other side of the river, over by across from Aurora Pack, just a small lot on the riverfront with the bike trail that goes through it. I'm going to ask Mike here as I. Oh, okay. I'm on the page right there. I am. The funding sources. I have to recognize in our 2023 State of Illinois capital budget, the sponsors to the monies were Senator Linda Holmes, Senator Villa, Representative Hernandez, Representative Hirschauer, and Representative Kifwit. They've been on the property several times looking at it. They attended our groundbreaking last general, and they championed through the state budget process the $4.7 million for capital improvement. In addition to that, there's $1 more million for future land acquisition or yet to be named projects upside there. We're currently at the sponsorship of Congressman Foster, as we're in the U.S. Community Funding Program with a request pending for another $4 million that would be used for trail connectivity or a second way to get over and around the Fox River, but that one is yet to be determined. The Illinois Department of Natural Resources has given us an $85,000 grant for the redoing the lobby and the exhibits inside the building. The acquisition of the Sperry property, ComEd participated with a regional grant program for greening the riverfront at $255,000. And then most importantly, the land cash investment that your developers are making here in the village of North Aurora. That's what has allowed us to be very aggressive to recognize this capital investment in your community. Next slide is a picture up there towards Lippold Park. I want to recognize also the interim fire chief for the Fire Protection District. Just 2 weeks ago, he was able to work to change the addresses of these properties at Red Oak and Lippold, which have a Batavia, Illinois address. They now have a North Aurora, Illinois address. That is very important to us. And I think it is to you also. And it was very, very simple to do. The aerial view up in the Lippold area just kind of gives you that site corridor across from Lincoln Crossings. And if some of you can recall, when there was an archery center up there, this building is pretty much on that old foundation right inside that area. The next slide is a picture. This is the elevation facing the Fox River and the current pavilion, the boardwalk, and all the activities that are down there. On the left-hand side are restrooms for trail users and for the park users. This building is primarily 3-season. In the business plan, that our Director of Recreation, Jamie Igems, has put together has been brilliant. We're going to be calling this the Red Oak Educational Center and Event Venue. And the Fox Valley Park District has been very successful with a wedding and event venue at Blackberry Farms. And we're going to do the same thing at this facility to attract outdoor weddings and wedding receptions at this site, primarily on Saturdays and Sundays. The primary focus when this all started was the educational center. Currently, we can host about 25, maybe 30 kids at the max to come for a field trip to Red Oak Nature Center. This will allow us a capacity on 65 school days per year between fall and spring to host 200 kids at a time to come into an educational curriculum in North Aurora at this center. It'll have the running water, it'll have the bathrooms, and it's an affordable field trip. Field trips today in this area, the most expensive part is the transportation. And quite frankly, Morton Arboretum is our competitor. We are so far underpriced to bring the teachers here. So that process of the business plan is up and running and how this will be promoted. When school groups come for their curriculum at a field trip, we have 7 curriculums already designed, built into Red Oak Nature Center. So the teachers select which pathway they're going to go in a particular curriculum, which gets them to come back and over in that area. So that was the big push in the reimagining of this area up here, is to promote education, give a venue that's not as passive as it has been. Nothing will happen with the Fox River Trail. That's a large budgeted goal every year for our Board of Commissioner, is trail connectivity. And thus, the next slide, please, shows you coming out of the area there of Lippold Park with that playground, the landing for the pedestrian bridge. That is under the current engineering phase, but the good news is it's a funded project out of the state of Illinois. Is there any questions that you might have for me? And
Yeah, I do.
Trustee
Jim. So
Keeley.
excellent work. And I always feel that we have a great relationship with you. We work well together, both staffs. So the pedestrian bridge is new. I wasn't aware of the pedestrian bridge. I think that's really good. It's going to be really help connect our east and our west. Is that just something, when was that added in?
well,
Recently?
at the groundbreaking, when we contracted White and Company, trail connectivity, as I said, is a big goal of ours. And so they drew us this picture. And we went to our legislators that represent us in Springfield and showed them the picture and asked them if they would sponsor appropriations in the capital bill for this. And they all came out, looked at it and said, absolutely, we would do it. And Congressman Foster has done the same thing. He was out here one of the days when we were tapping the trees for syrup in that regard. So.
And it connects the 2 trails together?
Yes, on the landing side is obviously all of us work together closely with the Forest Preserve also, but is over to get over to the Les Aarons area. So just trying to do some loop activities,
So bicycles can go,
bicycles and walking,
excellent,
bicycles and walking only.
excellent. Very nice, very impressive.
Any
I just have
other
a question.
Questions? Yes.
Looking
Ms.
at the
Kurtz.
pricing on the pedestrian bridge, $4.7 million. Doesn't that seem a little on the high end for a bridge?
Now, the engineering alone with the studies for the Fox River of everything what we have to do is going to be close to about $1 million.
'Cause we came in, we had a estimate to remove the dam a few years back, and that was right at 3 million. I'm just a little incredulous that $4.7 million for one pedestrian bridge, just.
Yeah.
Why?
If you look at the span, this is actually the shortest span with the most land that we can land on, compared from Lippold all the ways to Route 56. So I'm hoping with the supply chain and the current construction climate that this budget holds, it will do nothing but go up.
Why did they feel the need for a pedestrian bridge when we've only got about 3 miles between the two bridges at Wilson and Route 56?
Just trail connectivity overall. Users, the Fox Valley Park District just concluded a comprehensive community survey throughout the district that was conducted with the questionnaires done in May and June. And the report was just presented. And this was already a motion before that, but the number one item that came back in our community survey was bike trails and connectivity.
Yeah, I hear that too.
Is
Most people that I talk
at about a
to.
level of 47% of all services that we could provide.
My question was just, I mean, that seems like it's the biggest bulk, the biggest chunk of the funding that we're getting.
Mhm.
And I mean, I know we have the pedestrian bridge over by River Edge Park too.
Mhm.
So I just was questioning why it seems like it's a redundancy to have it so close
Yeah.
to.
That's a good
All the
point. In a different world, I wore a different hat and I was involved in the preliminary of that pedestrian bridge. I was not with the Fox Valley Park District. The Fox Valley Park District gave $3 million to the city of Aurora for that pedestrian bridge. And that I can't remember exactly what it topped out at, but $9 million, but a different total design in that regards.
I think it's a huge enhancement to our village, everything. So I think all this and this sure is excellent.
Yeah.
This park, this event center is going to be awesome. I think it's going to be filled up every weekend.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be having a wedding or some type of event there. When will this
Exactly.
open? When will?
April of 23.
Okay, pretty soon.
So we're preparing ourselves for the field trips for fall of 23 in the school year.
Awesome.
In that
Well,
regard.
if you've ever walked from here at State Street, how far you have to go to get across the river. I appreciate there's going to be a bridge in the middle. And I do think that having that pedestrian bridge here in North Aurora does give connectivity between the two sides. I also like what you said about property here, the Sperry property, where it's going to be sort of a quiet area. I think that's going to do a lot to enhance this whole area and really fits in well with the plan that the village, I think, foresees for the whole area going forward. So I like the design. I think it's going to be a great asset.
Yes, indeed.
I think it puts us on the map as well. So I mean, you know,
Well,
we have we have nice parks, but I mean, this is a whole different level, you know, and yeah, I look forward to it. I think it's a nice
work.
enhancement. Yeah.
for the Fox Valley Park District, I took the seat a few years ago for the Park District to be at Aurora Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I was there last week with Mr. Behrman, who still represents the area up here. But the Aurora Convention and Visitors Bureau, with what they do to promote this area, and of course, it's a large area and they represent Batavia also, or they're talking to Batavia, but it is by no accident that this needs to be North Aurora. I've always thought it was North Aurora myself in that
Yes.
regards. So that's what it'll be. Staff is currently working on this, which it's up to our Board of Commissioners to put names on things, but holistically, we see this entire project, what we're presenting, that it will be just known as Red Oak. And Red Oak will have sections. The very first section is the Sperry property. We're just want to quit using Sperry. And we're contemplating that the name would be Big Woods, to go back into the North Aurora history from the Indians moving from the west to the east and coming to the Big Woods. The next section, we hope, and Mrs. Smith, we talk to her regularly, stay in touch with her, and we have some concepts of what we would do if we were so fortunate to acquire that last piece of property. The current Red Oak Nature Center, as we call it, will become the Red Oak Museum. That is a museum. It's funded through a museum levy to the taxpayers. And then, as I said, it'll be the Red Oak Educational Center and event venue. So when you get to this side of the river in North Aurora, there'll be one identity of Red Oak with 4 different sections within that entire property.
I'll tell you, it's been an eyesore, the Sperry property for ever, basically. So I'm happy you're, you know, taking
Yeah.
that over and we can enjoy the the team work together and, being adjacent to the village hall here, it'll be a, nice, nice plug.
That came
Brings up
up
the
together very
community, yeah.
quickly, and I have to thank North Aurora for supporting it, the Conservation Foundation for being our broker, Commonwealth Edison, at the first pass, accepted it as a brownfield site to clean up, and it came to better, and North Aurora from land cash contributions from Lincoln Crossing. So it came together very quickly, but everybody worked together to get it, and we hope it's restored now forever to public lands.
I have a question about
Yes, sir.
the placement of the path, the bike path. Has there ever been any discussion by the state to put a pedestrian path from Lincoln Valley on the Fox across to Retta? Because you have to drive to get to the path unless you're at one of the bridges. So is there a way to make it more connective to the people that aren't near the bridges?
That's a very good question, and it's recognized. Pending funding that we've asked from Congressman Foster, and we've had these discussions with your village administrator, that we talked about bike pedestrian at the Fox River. If we could get safe passage over Route 25 from the east side of North Aurora, would be more preferable, but we would, work with you and the village board and administrator to see if that could happen, because I'm glad you recognized it. If not, anything else is some pedestrian crossing on Route 25 to get across. And that takes the village to work with the traffic signalization, if that would be so true up there. But thank you for recognizing it. We do have a lot of discussions about it, but not a solution.
Because I would imagine people are already crossing 25. It'd be nice to give them a place, safe place to cross from
Yeah.
Lincoln Valley on the
That's
Fox.
right. It'd be nice if we could, yeah.
We're in the process of that exact thing with Village of Montgomery down on Route 30. So we're engaged in a process to that with a need also. So it is needed. It is needed. So,
Anything else? All right.
thank you. Any other
Jim.
Very
questions?
nice.
Well, thank you for your
Thank you for
support.
being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, motion for consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second,
Discussion? No question, please.
Trustee Gately,
Yes.
trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Nedved,
Yes.
trustee Salazar,
yes.
trustee Carroll,
Yes.
trustee Curtis.
All right, thank you. Under new business, item 1, Steve.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a Rustic Fox Holiday Market Special Event request. As you know, they've had a farmer's market and other special events in the parking lot. They'd like to have food trucks, and they're taking up a considerable amount of parking in their parking lot, which is the reason they would need a special event permit from the village. They like to host this holiday market on the 5th and 6th of November from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The only concern the staff had originally was that the layout they show was used their entire parking lot. And even though the PUD for the town center allows for overflow parking, so there's plenty of parking, the concern was that they need to have some parking available for ADA accessibility, those types of things. So staff reached out to the owner, and she actually did provide us today an updated layout that shows some more parking up front right by the store. So it's not in the packet, but she already did provide it to us.
Motion approved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll, please.
Trustee Gately,
Yes.
trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Nedved,
Yes.
trustee Salazar,
Yes.
trustee Carroll,
Yes.
trustee Curtis.
All right, thank you. Item 2, Steve.
Thank you. Item number 2 on the agenda is another special event request. This is for the North Aurora Fire Protection District's Firemen's Association doing their annual turkey raffle, which they have not done due to COVID, I would assume, for the last couple of years. So they're looking to have it back again.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Discussion? Roll, please.
Trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Nedved,
Yes.
trustee Salazar,
yes.
trustee Carroll,
Yes.
trustee Curtis, trustee Gately.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Item 3, Steve.
Item number 3 reduces the number of Class A liquor licenses from 6 to 5. That is due to the closing of Blue Agave Cantina and Grill.
Motion to approve. Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Nedved,
Yes.
trustee Salazar,
Yes.
trustee Carroll,
Yes.
trustee Curtis, trustee Gately,
Yes.
All right, thank you. Item 4, Steve.
Item number 4 is decreasing the number of Class B liquor licenses from 8 to 7. And this is due to the closing of Tequila over on the east side off of Butterfield. But point is that it's closing, but it's also changing owners into a different restaurant. So that's the item on the cow agenda. So this is to close out the liquor license for Tequila.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
trustee Salazar,
Yes.
trustee Carroll,
Yes.
trustee Curtis, trustee Gately,
Yes.
trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Nedved,
Yes.
All right, thank you. Item 5, Steve.
Item number 5 is a comfort dog program at the police department. It's a resolution with the guidelines for the program are in a policy that's attached to the resolution. Just a reminder, the board looked at this, didn't seem to have any concerns. The comfort dog would be used to support victims, people dealing with high stress situations, mental health concerns, and of course, bringing them out to community events to promote goodwill with the police department. There's about a $12,000 startup cost the first year. That includes car modifications. It's pretty nominal after that. We're anticipating to be less than 2,000 each year after. And then this is the resolution approving the program.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? I just have one thing. I think it's fantastic, and I think it's awesome that Officer Parr was gonna house the dog at his house and come in and work events and things and kind of jump around. So much appreciated. So
To me, that was actually important because I just feel like, an animal has to be attached to somebody. And I just feel, I would feel bad if the dog was going to be like in a crate or something at the police department. So that was kind of the last, I love the idea. And that was kind of the last thing that I wanted to see, that the dog would be with somebody.
Yeah, that,
Or
just
family.
a real quick, interesting fact on that one. The police department was putting the program together with Chris in our office. That was one thing we looked at is, should the dog be available at the police department 24/7, or does it stay with one person? And they promoted it as being one person, and it made sense because what you hear is the departments that may have the dog throughout the day there, you're then passing that relationship on to each other person, hoping that they're always going to maintain that schedule of that dog. And if they get called out on a call, there's never that one guaranteed handler that knows exactly what the dog's going through.
Yeah. It doesn't seem fair to the animal. I mean, I'm a dog lover. I have a dog myself. So I think that's great.
anybody else? Cool.
trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Nedved,
Yes.
trustee Salazar,
Yes.
trustee Carroll,
Yes.
trustee Curtis, trustee Gately,
Yes.
All right, thank you. Item 6, John.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is the approval of repairs to the 2008 sewer vector truck. This truck, we sent it in for repairs and for the radiator and the motor. And as they were repairing it, we asked them to perform some other diagnostics on the truck because it wasn't performing as well as we thought it should be at the time. The diagnostics came back and identified a significant repair to the rotor pump, which is leaking and is in the amount of $23,000. It's a very expensive repair, but it's a very expensive truck as well. I think when we first bought the truck, it was around $185,000, $200,000, and the cost of a new truck these days is about $300,000 or more. So, in perspective of the cost of the truck, and considering that this is the first major repair we've had in 14 years, I think we're going to be in good shape after we do make this repair. It is a big amount. But at this time, we're asking for approval to get that truck back in service because it is important to us to use in excavations. So the primary use is when we're going to repair a water main and we find that there's a gas line and fiber optic lines crisscrossing all over this pipe. In order to get to this water main, we can use the vac truck to expose those wires without damaging them and then perform the excavation to make our repair. So this is the staff recommendation is for the approval of the repair to the 2008 sewer vector truck in the amount of $42,152.22.
Motion approved. Second.
Discussion?
John, I was just wondering, with this, it is a costly repair, but obviously a lot less money than buying a new one. about how many more years would you expect to get from, I mean, I know you can't say for sure, but how many more years would you expect to get from it after this type of repair?
I would hope 7 to 10.
Okay,
So
that's a long time. Okay, thank you.
generally speaking, we keep a lot of our, and it's a specialized piece of equipment, but dump trucks, for instance, we budget typically on a 15-year life cycle, but we keep them about 17 to 18 years. On a truck like this, and talking to John and Brian in the Public Works Department, this is a truck where it doesn't get utilized as often, but when it does get utilized, because of it runs the pump, the engine is obviously important because it not only drives the vehicle, but it also drives all of the actual vacuum and everything that it utilizes.
Thank you.
Trustee Gately,
Yes.
trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Nedved,
Yes.
trustee Salazar,
Yes,
trustee Carroll,
Yes.
trustee Curtis.
All right, thank you. That concludes our new business. Trustee comments? Administrative report?
No report tonight. I do this all the time. I say no report and then I add something. So Executive Director Pilmer did mention something about the address changes and I'm glad that for the update. That was something that was brought up years ago. And for those who were unaware, so Red Oak Nature Center did have a Batavia address and we talked to the Parks District years ago. And they
Yes.
went back and forth on how it would have to change and, you know, who's involved, is it the post office, the zip code? And then, of course, to remind the board, we annexed Lippold in. So Lippold was an unincorporated before it came into North Aurora a few years ago. So now, if you go to Fox Valley Park District's website, it says Batavia, Illinois for all of these beautiful parks that are actually in North Aurora. So that's a significant change.
It adds to the community. Big time.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Department reports?
No report.
Chief. All right, motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Opposed, the same. All right, motion carries and we'll be meeting for community of the whole shortly.